Hi everybody, we're live in the English session of the release party of Gallery, my second book. I will wait a minute to see if more people come in, because when... Gallery, my second book. Whoa, that's me. It could be like I'm just telling about the book and there are more people coming in, so I need to restart. So I'll just wait a few minutes to see if more people are coming. First of all, thank you for being here, for being at this release party. We just, the previous 2 hours, I celebrated it with the Dutch people and some Belgian people in my own language. So I'll have to switch a little to the English once again. So if I make a mistake, have to think about something to say, I'm sorry. Just have to switch back to another language for now. But I think that will be fine. It's also for me really, I'm very curious how many people will check in to see this live, because we have different time zones around the world. And of course, if I'm correct, in the USA it's afternoon. In Asia we have morning. Australia it's night. England is 1 hour before us, before the Netherlands, if I'm all correct. So I'll try to pick a time zone here which, well, is suitable for most of you. But we will see. I'm very curious. You can use the live chat during this live if you want to say hi, or if when I'm explaining something about Gallery and you want to ask something about it, you can also do it in the live chat. I will check it while I'm telling and presenting this live, so I can relate to that question and answer it if possible. Well, that's it. First of all, well, today Gallery is released, my second book, and it all started with Journey, for sure. My first book, which was published on the exactly same date last year, so this one is 1 year old, and this one is based on many personal travel stories, and some of you already have this book in your collection, although a lot of you also still not have it. Hi Karen, great you ordered the book today, and welcome to Southern California. Great to have someone overseas here. I hope my English is well. I hope everything will be understandable for you, but I'm sure we can work this out. I was telling about Journey. Well, Journey is was just an idea for a book which we tried to make and see how it would enter the world and how the crochet world would look upon it. And it has been a real great adventure. Many of you really liked the book, and many of you still don't have it and want it. And for that reason, I'm happy to say that Journey is sold to an English publisher, which will publish it once again next month. And with this action, it means like this book is available in every English-speaking country so much easier. You can get it into your local bookstore, but also in your craft store, and also Amazon is of course an option. But there is a small change, and it's perfect for me to explain at this moment, because this is the original Journey we created, and the Journey we have known the look of it so far. But next month, when the new English version of Journey is coming out, it will be this one, because, well, I already have it, but it's not already, you can pre-order it, but it's not already out there. And you will see that the title has changed a bit into Crochet Journey, but the inside of the book is still the same as Journey. So it's only the cover which is different. Also the backside is a little bit different. But well, yeah, I'm very happy with it, and I didn't really matter that the outside of the book is a bit different than the original one, because it's so much easier for all of you to get um, um, in a few weeks. The demand of Journey for all of you around the world is so large at the moment that I am really happy that this is happening, and we can all provide you with a copy if you like it. Oh, I see Amy Child. Hello from Utah. Well, hello from the Netherlands. And we have Anna back, which was in the Dutch live before this. Yeah, really sorry, Anna. That's why I also mentioned it in the Dutch version of this live before this. Some of you already checked in there, which is fine. It's no problem at all. But well, I can really imagine it's hard to understand if only Dutch is spoken there. So that's why I also mentioned, like, okay, you need to be in a few minutes on the other side, because this one is really English, and this is for you all. I hope this will be more understandable for all of you. Karen says, I missed the original Journey, so pre-ordered the new version on Amazon today as well. Well, and that's really no problem, because the inside of the book is exactly the same. We didn't change a thing about it, so even if you missed the original Journey, it's no problem at all, because they're actually just the same, only the cover is different. So it's perfect if you now already pre-ordered the new version of it. And thanks that my English is perfect, because, well, it's not my native language, so I hope always that I can speak it fluent, but it's not always the case here. But thank you for joining, all of you. Of course, I'm going to talk about Gallery, but it's nice to also mention something about Journey, because it was the start for making books. And because Journey was so successful, we also decided to make a second book. And I say, no worries, it was me and my mistake with time zones. Well, yeah, it's also for me a bit like, I hope I've picked the right time to connect with all of you, but it's a little bit different, because you can't really pick a time which suits all of us. And in the end, it doesn't matter, because this live can also be seen later on, because it will be recorded and it will be uploaded right away after we close it, so it's fine. So I'm just telling what I want to tell, and I want to show what I want to show, and we're just gonna celebrate, because it's a very happy day, because Gallery is here, and I'm glad I can show it to you, tell about it, and of course also answer some questions about some general information, because it's the Dutch version, of course, of my books are pretty easy to get, because, well, the expansion of logistics and that kind of stuff are so much easier, because, well, we're in the country itself. But when it comes to an English book transporting to the rest of the world, we have just some little troubles, because it's not that easy to get your book into Amazon, and we're still working on that. But last year with Journey, the original Journey, somehow it worked, and after a few days after the release, it was available on Amazon. So hopefully this time this will happen again. But well, for that reason, I also tell at the moment, have some patience. But we also decided, because last year I also took some of the orders upon myself, but I also discovered by doing that a lot of you out there had to pay a real high amount of shipping costs, which is actually really not okay, because it's just a book you're buying, and of course I understand you like the book and you want it, but if you have to pay double the price of shipping in the meantime, it's not okay. So we're trying to search for options where that problem is tackled. And in the end, we thought it would be better to put the book into wholesale and hopefully Amazon, so those large companies can easier spread the book into smaller areas and hopefully more local to your side of the world. So we also expanded the book to the Bond, which is a Dutch wholesaler, and many shops out there in England, in the USA, like Dodds Yarn Den, but also Wool Warehouse in the UK. In Germany, we have lots of stores with which are purchasing from the wholesaler here. Also in Australia. And they can easily, as a retailer, like a yarn shop, which already is ordering there, can easily get the book also with their order at very, very good shipping rates for the company. So my advice for now is, if you have any shop out there which already sells scheepjes yarns, or can at least order there, and many craft stores already do outside of my country, they can easily get the book for you. So also try to ask around a bit more if you really like it. And for sure, just like I said, in the USA, I already know that Dodds Yarn Den is offering it. She already made it available on her web shop. And I also saw something about Australia, that one shop is already also taking pre-orders on it. And slowly things are starting up in outside of the country. So if you really don't know if you like the book and you really want it, and you still don't know the options where to get it, just give it a few days, and because everything is starting up right at the moment, and I'm sure in a few days things are more clear about that subject, and everything I'll see and will hear, I will of course share with you, and I hope that will make it easier to get a copy of Gallery if you're interested. So far, some more general information about how to get the book. But we have a release party, and of course I'm gonna talk about Gallery today because it's my second book, and as Journey was completely about traveling and my personal travel stories, this time I chose art as an inspiration, and we definitely chose a different theme because, well, we could have easily made 5 other books with different travel stories, no problem there, but I wanted to also put myself into a challenge by taking another team. I see that Karen tells me she already ordered the Gallery from Dodds Yarn Den. Yes, indeed, Dodds Yarn Den is doing a really good job there. Last year she also took the first steps for Journey, and she did it really well. She really delivers with good service. So if you're in the USA and you want the book with a much better shipping rate, I prefer to order it there. So that's a really great suggestion. But Gallery is inspired on art, and famous art, of course, because you need a relevation to understand where I put my inspiration from. And tonight I'm gonna show you the chapters of Gallery and the projects which belong to them, and for sure everything is here around me, so you all see little pieces out of the book because I have everything around me, and we're gonna do that. So let's start with Gallery, and of course I have showed some of it already in the last weeks. You could have chosen every time a favorite project you'd like to be revealed through my social medias, and you really took on the job. And that's great because it made it easier for me because I couldn't pick my favorites, and I'm glad you did. So it made it a lot easier for me to show something out of the book but not that much because I didn't want to spoil everything what's in it. Because if you still get the book now or later or whenever, you also have a surprise in it. You just don't know everything, and that's what we're gonna do today as well. I'm gonna show you what's in it, but I'm not gonna show you the full book. It's full of beautiful photos, stories whatsoever. I'm not gonna tell everything because I also feel like when you're having the book, you still need to be surprised. So that's very important to say. Of course, another thing is like if you want a book and you don't want to get any spoiler alerts, I don't think you need to watch this video because I'm definitely going to show you what's in the book and it would take out the full surprise for you. So make sure that you know this because, well, it's pretty important. So let's start with Gallery. The cover. If you know Journey, you also know Gallery because we have chosen the same cover, type of paper, the how do you call it, the thread which you put into the reading ribbon, sorry. And that's really amazing because in this way you can easily see they're connected together, although there are different subjects in it, but you can really see my style and my kind of book, and they're really like little siblings. Still, on the inside, they're totally different. And the cover I have for sure showed many times now. And on the cover is actually one of the projects out of the book, which is a mandala. And that mandala is based on the portrait of Monet, Claude Monet, and his water lilies. And for sure he has made like 20 water lily paintings, so it was hard to choose. So I choose the most common one with the Japanese bridge. And I created all of those elements out of that painting, like the pastel colors, but also the lotus leaves, the lily pound leaves, all in this mandala. And well, I really thought it would be the perfect thing on the cover. And let's see what Anna says. That's how I found you. I'm interested in your art perspective, although I consider myself an intermediate crocheter. And that's fine because you will see that there's in this book are perfect patterns for beginners, intermediate, and even experienced crocheters. It's not all so hard as it looks, but I'm really gonna show you. So don't worry, just watch me. I'm gonna explain how I have how my perspective to art was, what I took from the paintings I chose, how I took it as an inspiration, how I recreated it into a pattern, and I will also tell you something about the patterns, so you really know what to expect from this book. So, the cover piece. It's here on the cover, but for sure I have it also live here. And that's still a different part. And you can see, well, the light is a bit, let's see if I can get it better to you. The light is a bit, because we are almost in the night here, so light is a bit off, but you can probably see, like this is the small version on the cover, but the real one is this one. And you can see it's a beautiful mandala, very detailed, very textured. And this is definitely an harder crochet item. So if you find it hard to start, I don't recommend this one in first case. But it doesn't matter because we also have more simple patterns. But you can, it's really nice to see the original version of this cover piece. And it's also just chapter 2 out of the book. So I'm gonna dive into the book with you and show you what, well, what's in it. And to start off, we start with the beginning, where you have the view on what's in the book, and we created it like you get an information map into a museum, like, okay, you can find that painting on that floor and you can find it there. And we also created this first view in the book the same way, like you're walking into a gallery or into a museum and you get a clear subscription or where to find the pieces. We found fun. We thought it would be a fun fact to put in the book, like you get a real gallery experience, and you have also some small details already on what to expect. Thank you, Anna. I'm glad you liked the mandala. For sure, you can also, my picture is in it as well. And I have a few personal words for you before you start your walk through the gallery. And of course, there are also a lot of tips and tricks in it before you start the patterns, which are really definitely gonna help you making the patterns. But also I created some small technique videos which are also very handy with all of my patterns, actually, because I also always work with the same kind of way in my patterns. So some of them, like color changing and that kind of things, all will be, if there isn't a video yet, I will upload it in the next weeks because they are all made, but I will upload them in over time. So that will also be very helpful if you are dealing with some things in the book. And also I have to mention, I didn't spend about 30 pages of stitch knowledge. Also, I didn't also do it in Journey because I feel like we're living in a very virtual world, like we are now live. And many things you don't understand or any stitch you don't know can also be found on the internet these days. Like there are perfect tutorials, perfect videos, and it most of the time is even more clear and understandable through a video than explaining it into words or pictures. So I left it out of the book. Of course, the abbreviation is in the book, that's for sure, but we didn't put a whole layout for each stitch used because most of them are just basic stitches which we already know or can easily be found out there explained by, well, a lot of people. So good to know. And after that we're gonna go to chapter 1. And chapter 1 is actually, once again, the lighting is a bit off, but you get the idea. It's a beautiful wrap. It's Lisa's wrap. It's based on Mona Lisa, the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. And it's a really classy wrap, like very elegant. It's a really drapey one. And you might ask why it's inspired on Lisa, Mona Lisa. And that's actually based on the fact, like, when you look at the painting and you're really gonna zoom into the dress of Mona Lisa, you will see she has a really embroidered collar. And that's a specific pattern in that collar, which I took and crocheted into this wrap. And I have it here live. And you will see, I'm gonna hold it up a little. Amy Chell says gorgeous, thank you. You will see here, I think you can really see how beautiful detailed it is. And that's the exact same embroidered collar out of the dress. And the color change of this wrap is really amazing. It's really beautiful. You really can't see it really that good in this way, but you'll get the idea. So that's the first chapter, and it's really lovely. It was my first piece I created, and I immediately knew this was the first thing we have to start with. And I really like. This is actually a piece which is really not hard to make, and it's doing great. So don't think everything in the book is really intermediate or experienced, because this one can be easily done without that much experience. And here you can easily see, like, I took just small inspirations out of paintings and used them into a new crochet pattern where I came up with, because I didn't want to get too much out of an existing painting, because you can't copy things. You want to take an inspiration out of it and create something new, and that's what I did. So you will definitely recognize some details and some color work out of paintings, but it's a total new item in fact. So that's how my perspective to the art I used is well turned out. And of course the book has so much pretty picture work, and we photographed it really nice like this. We actually hold it very basic, but I think it even makes it more powerful. This is all made by a photographer named Peggy Jansen. It's a Dutch photographer, and she's really amazing with light and darkness in photos, and well, that's exactly what I want in my book. So she's the perfect person to photograph my books. And we mostly do this in 2 days for 12 projects, and we also have a stylist which is first gonna put out a set, and yeah, it's a whole process in on itself. And it's it's on the most fun days of making a book, because you're gonna see how a pattern is coming to lives. Like, okay, it's getting a whole nother dimension. So yeah, that's how photographs work. And of course the book holds very clear written instructions. I don't write everything in as much abbreviations as I can. I also try to make it understandable, like using some more words now and then, so it stays a pattern which is easy to read, instead of only using abbreviations and creating some kind of code. But if you don't like a written pattern, all patterns in the book are also charted, so you can always use charts as well. And the second chapter out of the book is for sure the Monet mandala from the cover, which we already saw just a minute ago. And it's fun because we also made other pictures with this, and this is one of it. But you will also see there are other objects on the photos, and actually these are all vintage painting supplies, like very old oil paint tubes, or old pencils, and we could use them because we have a very famous brand here in the Netherlands called Talens, and they have some kind of museum with all kind of vintage items they made through the years. Some of them are already almost 100 years old, and we had the permission to use them for the book as items to use in the photograph, so that really made it a whole different level, and they suit so well to the team. So I'm really happy with that we could borrow them for a while. And we're really happy that they offered them, because they made it so much more special in the end. I'm gonna go to chapter 3, which is the pillow, which is, let's see, yep, there, which is right beside me. And if you look to the colors, you actually can already guess it a little. It's Vincent van Gogh, or as we say in Dutch, Van Gogh, but most of you can't really pronounce that, because the G is a really Dutch thing to say as G. It's a fun fact. And of course he was also a Dutch painter, which is one of my most favorite. And I took the Starry Night painting as an inspiration. And I found it very interesting to do, because Starry Night is such a famous painting and almost everyone in the world knows how it looks. So I didn't want to take too much out of it. And in the end I decided to just zoom into the sky and take a little piece out of it, like the curling wave into the sky. I just took some out of it and tried to apply a crochet technique on it, which also represents the little stripes of paint he used as a technique, like little thick stripes of paint, oil paint, upon each other. And this is actually how this pillow is also created, but then with yarn. and you do it color by color. So this whole color change is made by hand with about 25 colors, I presume. And it really delivers a really beautiful cushion, and you can see that it's really vivid and exploding into the screen if you see it. But you really see the curling vibe out of the sky into this piece, and I'm really happy how it turned out. So that's the Starry Night cushion, the painted stripes cushion, sorry. And that's chapter 3 in the book. And the next chapter is one I already showed at the beginning when a gallery was announced. It was the first project and the first reveal I showed out of the book, which you can also see here. It was the Klimt blanket, the throw. It's actually the Egyptian eye throw. And many of you liked it. It was really like one massive hysterical thing. Like I never imagined it would do so much. But I'm really happy you all liked it that much, and it was a very good thing to show at first because it was loved by many of you, and it's actually based on the portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer. And that painting is actually more abstract. It's not more. It's like other paintings are more like the Renaissance and more classical, and this is more abstract and more modern. And I feel like we need to also change that up a bit, like choosing artists and paintings. It had to be a very different mix of all kinds of art forms. So, and this painting is actually not that interesting to see because it's a lot of gold and a lot of geometrical shapes, and most of all Egyptian eyes. So yeah, that was for me the most easy inspiration to get, and that turned out into the Egyptian eye throw. But it also is very striking, and the resemblance to the painting is actually really good and recognizable. And well, I'm not gonna turn it on because turn it up because everything is collapsing here if I do that. But in the book we have also beautiful, you can see it here. We just also made photographs like this of all the projects in the book, so you also can really zoom into the crocheted work. So even if a pattern or a chart would not be understandable, you could easily see also into the photographs like how it is done, so you really have a good insight. So that's very easy also as well, and really interesting to watch. And the next chapter we are going to Salvador Dali. And many of you were interested in the Dali painting, which I chose, and it was The Ship with the Butterfly Sails. It's a more unknown work of Dali, and that's on purpose. I also wanted to put some paintings in it which are not the standard and the most famous pieces made by an artist. I also wanted to do some more unknown work, and this is one of them, although many of you will know it, but it's not the first thing you see when you would Google Dali. But it's a really interesting painting, like a big ship without sails, but they are all replaced by large butterflies. And I really love the painting because it's very colorful. I love butterflies, so it was easy for me to take it. But there is a but. I really didn't know what to make out of it because I had a lot of projects already made, like a pillow, a blanket, a throw, a wrap. So what was next? And I decided to make a shawl pattern out of it, and that was actually pretty fast decided for me. and I have it here, as you can see. And you will definitely not see it in detail out of here, but you can see there are all small butterfly wings into this shawl up on each other, and that was actually the most easy inspiration for me to take out of it. I decided to take a color like this, but it could have been every color because many colors are in the painting. So I could have easily go for orange or red, but this for me worked a lot because I found it a more vintage color. But that's the fun of the painting. It has many colors in it. So that's what I made from Salvador Dali. And as you can see, the photographs in it already show you as well how nice this pattern can be. And then we come to the 6th chapter, and we are halfway almost. And the 6th chapter, I've made many mosaic patterns and many mosaic tiles in the meantime. And I also try to put a mosaic tile in every book I create as well. So in this one there is also a mosaic tile, and I took the Spanish tiles this time as an inspiration to Pablo Picasso. And he's also a contemporary artist, actually, with very abstract art. And although it's not my cup of tea, I felt it needed to be in here. So I did. And out of the Spanish tiles I took the painting La Guernica. It's the largest painting he ever created. And in that painting is also a large bull, because it represents his Spanish heritage and also the values and the culture of Spain, which Picasso really lived out. And so I created that into a mosaic tile, which you can see here. And the painting is all black and white, so this blanket also became black and white. And you can see there is also that same bull head into this design, and that's really, well, the most recognizable thing you can get. But the whole thing is really striking, actually. So that was what I made from La Guernica. And we also made beautiful pictures in the book. You can really see how the stylist also put a beautiful statue of the Spanish bull into it. I like you really like what you see so far. And chapter 7 is a Dutch artist I chose. It's Johannes Vermeer. Probably harder to pronounce for all of you. But the girl with the pearl earring is probably more recognizable. And for that I took smaller doilies to create. But well, when you talk about a pearl earring, you want to use pearls. And that pearls I created into 2 different type colored doilies. They are the same doilies, but I made 2 versions out of it with two different colors. And it doesn't matter in which light or in which studio or event we come, those white pearls are always on, and that's what I love about these 2. You can really see them shine out, and that was exactly what I wanted. So I really love these 2. And although it's are a bit smaller projects, they're not really that hard to make, and also faster to complete, which is also fine. It's not always have to take weeks before you finish something. So there are also smaller projects in the book. And as I told, beads are used to crochet into this piece. And if you have never done that, I can imagine you think it might be hard, but it's actually pretty easy. So I also recorded a video with the technique of crocheting beads into your work, which is perfect if you don't really know how. But you can easily use that video with this project, because it would be a waste if you can't use pearls or beads into your work. And you actually crochet them while you are working the pattern, so you're not gonna sew them in or anything. Um, so that might be very helpful if you ever get gallery and want to make these. But the patterns always also hold instructions to make them without beads if you don't like them or don't want them in. So don't worry if that is an option you like. Well, so far. Chapter 8. For me, a famous and favorite artist, which is Frida Kahlo. Yeah, she really is on my top list of artists. Mostly because her presence and her eccentric and artistical view out into the world. But the only thing I could think about when talking about Frida Kahlo was bright colors, black, flowers, the real iconic things when we talk about her or see things from her. And for that reason I created a stool, and I also named it Frida's Flowers, because it was exactly what it was when I finished it, and you can see it here. I shall put away the blanket a little. I just lay the stool on its side, because when I have to lift it up here it will become one big mess. But you can see here the top of the stool, which is actually the most beautiful part, because you see a lot of flowers and well, what I designed with it. The side of the stool is also really bright and colorful, but in all together I feel this is really a Kahlo thing, and almost a bit like Dia de los Muertos, because well, Mexican and South America, those things are combining perfectly, I think, when we talk about Kahlo. So I'm very happy with this tool, and I hope I did justice to Frida Kahlo with it. I didn't pick a specific painting from Kahlo because she made a lot of self-portraits. So we just took a general theme like, okay, the self-portraits of Kahlo for this. And we made also beautiful pictures with some fresh dried flowers with it. And well, you can see in the book it really even gets more highlighted. So I really love how this turned out as well. And chapter 9 in the book is one many of you also wanted to see. It's the Great Wave by Hokusai. And he is a Japanese artist because I really felt like, okay, the book holds a lot of European and American artists so far, but we also have an Asian side of art. So I definitely need some other things as well. So it's not like I only picked it for that reason, because I really like the painting, or actually the wooden carving as well. But everyone knows the Great Wave of Kanagawa, if I'm saying it correctly. So I liked it very much. And what did I do with it? If you look besides me, you already see a part, because, well, if we talk about waves, it's pretty easy to also create waves. And I took it into a yoga pillow, and it's pretty heavy, but this is the one I created out of it, and I really love it. I have made it with a tapestry crochet technique, and it turns out really, really good. And I really love because it's a bit like an denim yarn, which gives it a bit more like a vintage look, like a real painting which is getting older. Yeah, so that's what I created with the Great Wave painting. Let me see. And chapter 10 is The Night Watch, another Dutch painting by Rembrandt, of Rembrandt van Rijn, as we say it in Dutch. It's in our National Museum. Anna tells me she really loves Frida Kahlo with the flowers. Yes, me as well. I'm glad I represent your country very well. But Rembrandt van Rijn, The Night Watch, is in the Rijksmuseum here in Amsterdam. And of course I had to put it in because The Night Watch is the most famous painting of my small country. And although it's a very hard painting to use because it's very dark and there's a lot of things going on there, I really had a hard time creating something out of it. In the end I came up with a rug. So it became Rembrandt's Rug. It's actually a great title. And although it's a rug, it's here on the floor, I could pick it up. It's hard to show you what it has become, so let me show you out of the book how it turned out. It became this one, and the white center is actually the white colors men were at that time in history, and the typical colors of the Night Watch are in it, and it's actually made with 3 strands of yarn to make it very thick. But if you use 1 strand, you could also easily make a nice doily or a mandala out of it. So this pattern is actually a multiverse to use, which are many of the patterns in this book actually are. You don't always have to do like the Frida stool. You can also just crochet the top and make a small doily out of it. It's not all that you have to create a project which is done with it. You can also take parts out of it and use it for other purposes. So that is the rug of Rembrandt. And the chapter 11 is made about a painting of Raphael called The School of Athens, and he is a wall painting in the Vatican in Italy, in Vatican City, and he created a somehow image of an old library into a Roman school. And if you look closely into the painting up to the ceiling, you see some kind of honeycomb structure into the ceiling, which is really beautiful, and I found it a great inspiration to use into a very chunky blanket. So I took some front post and back post stitches, and I created that same honeycomb ceiling into a blanket, and it's actually the blanket which is here on the table, but I'm not going to put it up because everything will fall down. So we'll show you how it looks in the book. And here you have a beautiful detailed way of how that texture is moving along the blanket. And it's actually a really simple blanket to make. It's really easy. And it works up so fast because you really use very thick weighted yarn. So a perfect thing to do in wintertime. And if you like a quick blanket, because you need one or want to gift one, this is the perfect thing to make. And the last chapter of the book is a more colorful one, and it's based on Wassily Kandinsky. He's a Russian artist who made probably only very modern art, and mostly in graphic shapes and colors. And so I thought in first place it wasn't really my thing, but when I looked closely to it, I came to realize that his work is even more important to us crocheters than we actually sometimes realize, because I took the color study of the concentric circles, which is actually a very easy painting when you look at it. It's just some colored circles together, like, okay, they're blending colors and they're just 6 circles or 9. And it's not really that interesting, but if you look very closely to it, you're gonna realize like, okay, but in crocheting we also actually every base starts almost from a circle, or we work in circles, or we work with circle shaped things, and the color changes, like we have so much gradient type of yarns based on this fact. So this painting is even more important actually than I realized in the beginning. So in the end I wanted to create it, and I decided to, as Journey already had a rainbow colored project, I felt like this one also needed one, and this was the perfect painting to take to create a rainbow type of pattern, and that is what I'm going to show you because it's at my back and it's a really large one. So here it is. I created this beautiful big mandala, and as you can see, everything about this pattern is round. It's in the round, it's round circles, it has round popcorn stitches. So the base is really round, and of course the rainbow colors is based on the um, the painting because it holds a lot of rainbow colors. But I also felt like there needs to be one kind of project in the book which is really blasting off the screen. And it has become this one. And of course we also made beautiful pictures out of it as well. Well, and then you get to the end of the book where you see me again, and I have some last words, personal words for you. And then you will be at the end. And that's what this new book, these are the 12 projects out of this new gallery book. And as you see, it also has a kind of same vibe as Journey, but in a total different way with total different subjects. In every chapter I once again tell you a personal story. I'll explain something about the painting, I'll explain something about the history of the painting, I explain something about the inspiration I took out of the painting into the project I made. So you really have the same thing as I did with the first book, like there is a part to read and a part to make. Like it's more than a crochet book, it's also partly a reading book. But it shows you what is in it. And I definitely not show you everything like photos and how it's all done, because I feel like you have to explore it for yourself once you have it. And maybe you will have it soon, or maybe you will have it in about a few months. I don't know, and maybe never. I don't know. But at least you have a good view on what's in it. Karen Smith say, I want to make everything. Looking forward to receiving a book so I can start. Well, I must say, in the Dutch version before this live, almost everyone said the same, and I'm really happy to hear it. Because in the end, I come up with things in my head and I try to create them. I try to give them form and shape, and I'll take inspiration out of things, but I never know, because I work for about a year long to create a book like this, if it will be successful or that you all like this. So in the end, I'm only happy if people once again like what I've done and like what I came up with and the idea behind it and how we did it, because I work with a full team on this, because there is the publisher. Well, it starts with me, like the crocheter and my patterns, and I write it down and it's tested, and once that whole process is done, which are mostly takes 7 to 8 months, then most of the time the publisher starts working with it. So we have days to photograph the items in the book. We have a stylist with it, which takes very good care of how things are presented. But after that, we also have graphic designers who are gonna form the whole book. And that's mostly important, because it makes all these things together will make this book actually what it is. And if all those elements are done in the right way and are connecting, you know if something is successful or not, because and we work with actually really small group of people, all Dutch people, but we also all have the same vibe of how things need to be, and that is what you see and what you can feel about these books. They are really like who we are in person. Miffy says, looks awesome, congratulations, can't wait to get my hands on a copy here in Australia. Well, thank you, I'm really happy to hear that. And well, yeah, I can understand, and I hopefully for sure there are yarn stores in Australia who are gonna offer it, because I really know last year as well Journey is also really highlighted in Australia by some stores there. So, but once again, if you're not be able to get the books yet, just give it a few days. Everything will roll out in a few days, because this is the first day today this book is released. It's hot off the press. And here in my own country, for sure, things are getting easier. Most of the people who like the book can receive it tomorrow or at least the weekend, because yeah, well, it's easier to ship out and to spread it out through the country. But overseas, of course, there is there is some time needed to get the book with different stores at different places in different countries. So at least you can already see something of it, and you know once it is out there and you want it, you can get it with the idea of, okay, this is in the book and that's why I want it. And thank you, Anna, for your congrats and your hugs to all the team. I'm glad you find it outstanding, and we just do our thing and we hope it's okay. And it's really nice to see many of you feel also about the same way about that. Yeah, we had a really great day. I mean, we had before this, we had 2 days of a retailer event where we present the book at first to any retailers or wholesalers, and that's always some kind of marking, like you can see, okay, how do retailers or wholesalers think about your work, and do they find it useful to bring it out in their stores? Well, and that was very successful, and we had a lot of fun, made a lot of fun videos, which you maybe have seen on social media as well, although you probably wouldn't understand a thing about it because most of it is Dutch. But so we had 2 very busy days. Today I just worked in the bakery, although my book was released. So I thought it would be a good idea to do these lives, and I'm doing this for the first time, so it's all new for me and I'm just doing something. But I think it is nice to have some interaction with you all and well, see how you think about Gallery, how you think it has become. And I see we have a Dutch one as well here in the live. Thank you, Geke. She also has received Journey already, and she likes it as well. Yeah, so for me the most important is I have shown what Gallery is. And even if you really are not up to book 2 but still are waiting for book 1, like the Crochet Journey, which is oh, need to take the right one, which is coming out October 11. That's fine. This book is really also a great one to start with, but I'm not going to show it now because I'm going to do another live at the release of this one, because many of you will receive it then, because it's pre-ordered a lot already. And we're going to do another party because this is another release as well. And of course I'm going to enjoy that time with this release as well with you. And we're going to look upon that book as well later on. For now, I think I'm gonna close off this live because it's getting very late here and I really need some sleep because my day started at 5 a.m. and it's now probably about 11 to 12 a.m. We're already almost in the new day, so I'm already up for about 17 hours and it's time to close off the day. At least I could show you what Gallery is, and well, for those of you who weren't in this live, you can always look back to this live, so if you missed it, you have now seen as well what people have seen who were here. Thank you at least for everyone who was here, who is here in the live, and for your kind comments and all your wishes and all your feedback, positive feedback. Really happy to read you all like it, what you see. And I hope as well that Gallery will be as successful as Journey and will spread out to the world eventually even better than it is doing now, just like Journey. And maybe it needs some time, but I'm sure that will all be find its way. So in the end, I'm gonna close off this one as well. We're almost at an hour. So I'm gonna press the little button in about a few seconds. Thank you everyone once again. It was nice having you here. Thank you, Miffy. I'm glad I can share my talents with you. And well, I hope to see you in the future in a new live, new video, whatsoever. Bye bye. Have a nice day out in the world, over there in Australia, in USA. your day is still going on. Here it is closing off to the next one. Oh, I see some Dutch people are still in this one as well. Thank you, Siem. Good night. I'm gonna push it off now, and I'll say bye-bye.